So I should have some discussion about feed. Every time we think about aquaculture, we think about nice animals in some tanks or some location, but it is very important to look on the feed. Feed is maybe the most expensive cost in your running cost. Everybody know that it costs about 60 or 70 or 80%. On the time I was starting in salmon feed, the cost of the feed was about 120% of the running cost. Because the incomes, they just get about 28 crowns, Norwegian crowns, but the production cost was about 36 crowns. But why? Because the fodder, the feed factor, was £1.7 in Norway. So I was just working there in 1 year, for 7 years ago, and just a few years ago. And our goal was to get this feed factor down to 1.1. Because we know that the salmon need about 60 megajoule per 1 kilo in production. So how can we reduce this? We were using about 28 megajoule per kilo on this time. So I will just discuss about feed production from pelagic fish, and it is mainly we are looking on a fish meal. And everybody knows that we need this protein and amino acid, fatty acid, vitamins and minerals as usually. And we think about the energy about I discussed. And it is so important to have the right combination of the feed, right protein and amino acid and peptides and the fat acid. So I just put something slides because it was not expected I should have some presentation today. But I think I've made something. I think I have good focus on that. And it is not every time to have this right combination because we know everybody what I will discuss about later on optimize this because we need some knowledge about nutrition of the crude protein, nitrogen, and we should think about the amino acid and special fatty acids, lipids, and it is every time we must have the nutrition content of the food. And we have also this, what we need to understand what is this time of the year, and it's also something very important to have. We should have some baby food for the small salmon. We should have it food for the teenage, from 100 grams to 600 grams or 700 grams. And so for the more growing up, and so we should also have feed for directly 2 or 3 months before slaughtering. So we have more influence on the right combination of the food what we get of the fish. Because every time we must have it in mind, the salmon being our food. For long years ago I was on one boat, and I was have some the option to be the main meat producer inside the boat, and every time I was made my people for to eat something, I pick up the fish from the room we was catching, but the crew for the boat told no, we don't eat fish here. Why? Because fish is just fish. Meat is food. You know that point. So that is something we have to keep in mind. It is best fish you can get, best food you can get. It is our fish. Everybody knows about fish meal. This is going down. And also that in our agricultural feed, we are using maybe less and less of fish meal and fish oil. And that is, as we know that at our argument, we have this soya meal, huge production, about 150 million tons per year. Fish meal is just about 5-6 million tons. sometimes down to 4.5 million tons. It is some fluctuation in production of fish meal. So we cannot expect, but we have other possibilities. Also because if I know that, I think I will not overlap so much into it. See also about the fish feed discussion later today. And the fish meal is not every time the fish meal because the raw materials what they're using to the fish meal, it was whole fish. Today, it is more and more byproducts. Not use the word byproducts. It is a side stream from the pelagic fish processing. And because for about 40 years ago, the people had discussion about the waste from pelagic fish production. It was that, because we not treat our pelagic fish good enough. Today, we have super cooling to our catching today. We cool our fish down to -1 or -1.8, like mackerel in Iceland. We every time cool our mackerel down to -1.5 or -1.8 in just in 1 hour. We cannot wait. Because our mackerel is full of calamars. And the calamars is eating the fish very quickly out. And the oil, fish oil, lipid inside the muscle of the mackerel is like very floating. So it's very soft. We need to cool it very quickly down to -1.8. And so that is very good raw materials. And also, if you look on the fish meal, we have the possibility to split these side streams up in heads, bone, skin, trimmings, and viscera, and also in the stomach, like in stomach in mackerel. What is inside the stomach? Bycatch. What's bycatch? Calamars. In calamars, it's full of omega-3. I mean, we have about 5 or 6% of our catching our mackerel is full of calamars. And we're catching about 150,000 tons. That means we make about 5,000 tons of calamars. So we don't need to have some catching of calamars just to think about that. We have plenty of that. And that should also thinking about baby food for the salmon. And also, you know, everything about that. It is what we have, water, protein, lipid, RS, and we have also the total volatile nitrogen, TVN or TVPN. That is our quality criterion about our raw materials. And also we have reducing our protein effect because we're cooling our raw material very quickly down to stop this spoliation and reduction of our protein. And what we are looking very often now, I have one PhD student, what is he looking for? Biogenic farming. Every people working with feed should look on that also. The biogenic farming. Catavin, histamine, many of these components has influence also on feed. So that is not easy to buy just a feed. I need some fish meal. It's so big difference. It came on time of the year catching. How long have been storage in our tanks? How is the processing good? That has influence on our biogenic amines. And because I am lucky because I have some PhD student. She is just looking on the component inside the protein. It's so important. Nobody has been looking on that, as I know. Maybe Turit has some students similar argument. But I'm also, because it is so easy to follow, you know, every processing on the lipid, what's happened inside the lipid. But protein is very complicated. And it's so easy to measure it. Oxidation, fermentation of FFA. But we must know this also. So, as you know, Everybody knows this fish meal production, and it's easy to look on this processing line. And we have a cooking area. We have our pre-cooking. Crazy. We have pre-cooking, preheating. What's happening in the preheating? Enzyme activity is very active. They're breaking down our protein. So we must maybe redesign our processing for fish feed production, salmon feed production. And also, we have the different dryer, steam dryer, air dryer. Steam dryer, what is happening? You have 180 degrees or 160 degrees on the steel plates, and you have your product, food or food production for our salmon, called food. They have same quality like food to us. Do you like to have been heated our fish in 160 minutes or 120 minutes in steam dryer in 160 degrees? So that is something we must look also at. It is our steam dryer. I know that what we have been setting up in Iceland, we have a steam dryer and air dryer, the last step in dryer. It's better. So it's just about 20 minutes in the steam dryer and just 10 minutes in the air dryer. So I told it is quality criterion for fish meal. It is what we're looking most on. And it is not just histamine, it is catalin and many other biomes we're looking on. And also I'm looking on fermentation of formaldehyde. Formaldehyde. What is formaldehyde? What is in your table? The best glue you can buy, it is formaldehyde. It has also been formed in our fish meat production because the heating process in the first step have some influence on this breaking down of TMAO. So that is something we must look on, and that is something and we are starting to be published in the next year of this, out of this research project. So we have some results in the next year. So it is just in the end phase, and we've been looking on this in such companies, and that is we are looking on. We know that if you have it processing temperature, it is maybe like this nutrition value going down, maybe more down. It is depend on temperature. It is depend on our protein quality. And also like that, it is a relative value of our histamine fermentation. And it is what is growing. It is every time like we have been looking on, we need that. And TVN, it is the quality of the raw materials, and that's a big influence. But the temperature influence in the processing has more influence on this fermentation of this amine component. Also about this taurine, what this has influence on our fish growing, how it's good, and this question how much we have it in our product. And also like that, just again, that we see that fish meal is going down, and today it's maybe about 5% or less. And it is also a question, like I told you, that it's a question about the timing on this feeding time. How is you using the protein? Every time we look on the feeding, it's also about the feeding technology. Which time you're using this protein? It should be on a baby food. Should you have some vegetables on the inside this time you have it from 10 grams up to about 100 grams. So it's a question of which time is best to have it feeding to optimize the growing. You can maybe have more effect on your growing factor in the salmon industry. And it is something we need to have more control over. It is about our pelagic fish. I just put in that we have also looked on the mesopelagic fish. That's like this parasites. We have been made some experiment on that, and it is something fish we can catching here, whole fish, small fish. But today we have our fleet is very busy to catch our stocks what we have. We have this herring, and we have mackerel, and we have blue whiting, and we have capelin. Every time with this, we have very good. That is good the whole year. We have just about 20 big ships, and this running this catching them will be a whole year in a month. So we are not looking on this. The parasite they can be using for our fish meal production, or we can have it fish powder production for the special fish product. And that is what we have been looking on, and that is just for parasite research projects. Calanus, I told you before. We get this new stock in Iceland, mackerel, and it was because we have huge quantity of calanus in the summertime on this area. And they just came to get some eating and feeding in our area. And it is our krill. We call it ljósáta in Icelandic language. And krill is, as usually, more than north, and it is about 2 or 3 times bigger than calanus. And we have so this catching. We have been trying the catching in Ísafjörð and all the places. And no, I also have some calanus. Okay, I take it out because we also been catching our calanus special, but not this. Just about the properties of fish meal. And it is, like I told you, it is water binding capacity. It's very important for our production of feed, fish feed. So you can see it is the diamond jet, it is air dryer. The drying time is just about 20 minutes. Hetland is also air dryer. The drying time is about 20 minutes. Steam dryer, it is horrible. It is drying time about 100 minutes. Again, it is the oil binding capacity. It's very important for our production of feed. How much it can keeping our oil. So if you have put soya meal inside there, it's about 200, much higher. So that is something. Every time you must think about the ingredients what you're using our feed production, about the quality, also about the texture, because it is about extruder. And you can see if you have it diamond jet, it's good quality. Hetland, steam dryer, and it is our eating profile in our extruding. So that is something important to look also about the quality and also about the species, the blue whiting, capelin. If you have Hetland, you can see the difference. But in diamond jet, treated blue whiting better. It is because the blue whiting is lean fish. It's a cod family. But capelin, what is capelin? Capelin of salmon family. Capelin is salmon fish. They've been treat it better in the headland. So I can see that this something in that this drying technique has influence because it is evident a high quality raw materials. And I told you about this soya meal. It is a rather good binding capacity and also very good viscosity. So that is something we have. It is very important to have it. But in the next step, we must look on the new process in our fish meal. It is, as we call it, FPI. It is about the fish protein hydrolysate, and this is new processing. We can take the whole or byproduct. We can call it the side streams. Take just the skin, and we're using spray dryer, very quick dryer, just about 2-3 seconds in drying fish, not in 12 minutes or 100 minutes in the steam dryer. So that is something you must think about, because we have not production of feed for animals, it is feed for fish. So you must think about it is so different, big difference, because fish meat was used for animals. But now we have looking on the fish, is fish eating in the sea, in the water, similar protein that we give them in the fish meat, no. Overcooked, no. So we must look what we have. So therefore we are starting up new thinking about our companies. We are working very close to our fish meat production. And we are lucky because this produce is located in some company in the East Coast. And we have some new thinking, and we are going like that. We have this spray dryer, we have membrane filtration, and we have some separations unit, very big, very good. So we're looking on this oils or lipids. We have protein powders, and we have some bioactive components for the fish feed. So we have also possibility to have some other units, and to this we have some extrusion for look what happened inside the extruding of the feed. So it is like a component we like to have produce. It is our new protein, new peptide, whole, not destroyed. And we look at that, what's happened inside the heating process. And we look also at the collagen. Every time you have this feed, we like to have this barrel up to this. If you need this amino acid, we can see we're dropping this utilizing possibilities. So we must have it full. We have lysine and we have the methylene. And methylene, as you know, it's most of the important amino acid you can buy, you can get in your feed. Because methylene and cysteine amino acids is very important for our feed production. So just to increase and decrease the feed factor, increase the value in our protein, in our feed, we must increase the methylene. So it is important to know that. And we are collecting every information to our NMR and NIR technique. We use it for our production of how we can measure this very quickly. And this instrument, as you know maybe, NIR and NMR technique, that is like we're using like it. We have been looking at that for see this lipid content and also how much we have the free fatty acid. Similar what we have for our protein. We have developed a data bank because this technique, the spectroscopy, is totally dependent how much we've been collecting of sample, special sample. So I'm very lucky because I have 15 PhD students working in groups, and we've been collecting this data to build up the spectroscopy. So that is one of the most important. Okay, it is shooting all of you, but it is the same what we have in our NMR technique. We can see here it is our fish meal, and now we can measure this online. How many we have of this amino acid, peptide, and other components, also in bioactive. So also this new one. This is using for our particles and how it is physical properties, our feed. And thank you. Any questions?
Matti smjáða þessa græður, þú ert að sína
það? Excuse me, we take it on Iceland.
Sorry. We have all these tools in Mattis.
Yeah, we have these tools, but it is tools that we have been located in a company in the East Coast because it is mobile. You can move it to the east coast, west coast. It is like we have it. We was building up the pilot unit for about 30 years ago, but it was established in Reykjavik. But now we think about build it up like mobile, so we can move it out every places. So we can take it to, but it is owned of Mattis, but it is Mattis, yes, owned of industry. I'm like, every time feel me like I'm one of the industry, and we can move it on every place. So it is, we can have it for fish oil, we can have it for fish protein, fish powder. We can use it for hydrolysis protection. It is just what we have now. We have the industry has to think about or buy 2 or 3 more units to have it complete. And so we can maybe produce what we need to do next for the fish feed protection, because every time you must look on in the future for it, but we can every time go back to this. But we have the small, we buy just a little small, so we can make some tests.
When do you think it would be?
When you do the hydrolyzation,
Yeah.
and if you let the enzyme come out and then you spray it afterwards, then you have to go up with the pH again, right?
Yeah, it is every time you can have it inside the processing before, because you have a possibility to have the bases or acids.
But
So
my main question is, have you been able to make fish powder that does not smell very strong? And I'm talking about to take it to the next level, to send this to human beings, not
that is the goal. We have been doing that.
And have you got result to get rid of the smell?
Yes. The bitter peptide.
Is it a question of what enzyme you're using then?
Yes. It is a question about the types of enzyme we're using. Also, but also about the heating and also about the membrane filtration. We have the holofiber and also this membrane filtration. So we can separate it, this amine and peptide. Yeah, you can pick out what you need.
Yeah.
So you can have special types. Also, if you need this methylic acid, you can have it inside, because you must need it. If you look on your feet, what is the main, what you lost in your amino acid components.
Sigurjón, when do you believe that you...
Thurid.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm happy.
When do you think you will be ready to test this on a live salmon, to feed the salmon?
I think it is not me, it is also in Norway, because we have been working very close to people in Norway, and we know of each other. We have been feeling that I am lucky because I've been used many times in Norway, and the people, I have very good overview, as you can hear. I was involved in this salmon from 1986, so it is a long time I've been in Norway. And we were looking on the menu of the wild salmon. How is the salmon eating in the wild? How we can copy of the menu from the wild to the farm salmon. That is the goal inside the feed, the right feed protection. What is the wild salmon eating, and what can we do in our farming? Can we make the same food or same feed for him? I call it sometimes food because it's been food to us.
Okay, one more question.
One question. My name is Jonathan. I'm from Þorlákshöfn, Iceland. I'm a consultant and former poultry farmer. A lot of similarities between poultry and salmon. My question to Sigurjón, because I have to say I'm impressed of the insight we are getting here from great speakers. And I'm wondering, what is the situation here in terms of education and resource capacities to solve this growing industry?
Think what is happening now. I think it is very nice, because I'm great lucky, because I have had the last 10 years about 15, 20 PhD students. Most of them is inside the industry. So that means the industry has been growing in the knowledge. Also because it's not every time PhD, it's also masters and BS students. I think the industry, the education in our industry has been growing so fast. And that is also very important because this knowledge, what we are thinking now here, and have discussed the next 10 years, it is very important for our salmon industry, also for the fish farming. So we must have it, and the education. Therefore, I'm lucky that we have Professor Turit from us, because we are trying to work more together. And we know that in Norway they have huge possibility to make very good research and also pilot study inside this fish farm. We tried one time for 1 year ago or 2 years ago to get some funding from Norway Nordic Innovation Fund to get this project for what we have been discussed here. But we got not money. We were trying to get funding about 3-4 million Norwegian crowns. We not got it. But inside this project, it was just what we discussed here. We must go directly to this research we have, raw material what we have, and split this side stream, like we told you about from the salmon, for the salmon industry. The salmon need that. We take, for example, from mackerel, blue whiting, and look on the skin, bone, heads, guts, stomach, because I know the smolt, they need this skin factor, because they just grow so fast. They need more collagen to have it easy to grow. And they need also maybe for spray diet, not for steam diet.
Okay, if there are no more questions, then thank you, Sigurjón.